first ever virtual session of Warstick University. And it's so cool. The very first virtual session is Collin Henderson, two-sport athlete at the University of Washington. You have written 7 books, spoke for Nike, Lululemon, Microsoft, and you are the CEO of Master Your Mindset. So today we're going to teach all of our athletes, parents, and coaches what you do to unlock the mind and help create better, stronger athletes.
That's good. I'm so fired up. What's up, Warstick fam? Warstick, you. Let's go. Mind right, game tight. Coach Collin here. So pumped to go to the Mind Gym. You can't just exercise, you got to exercise. So let's treat this session like a workout. Why? Because there are 3 things you can train. You can train your body, you can train your craft, you can train your mind. And most athletes spend most of their time training their body or their craft, how to hit, throw, catch, tackle, kick, whatever sport you're in. But we know that the elite performers train their mind. Mental training is the missing puzzle piece. Let's look at the trends. Every Major League Baseball team has a mental skills coach. That's a fact. Most Olympic athletes and their programs have a sports psychologist or mental skills coach part of that program. So no matter the age, no matter the skill, know this truth. The body has limits, but the mind is limitless. The biggest growth potential is not physical, it's mental. But here's a challenge. Most performers don't have a mindset coach. They know that their biggest roadblock and hurdle is probably not physical skills, but it's things like self-doubt, fear, pressure, how to perform when people are watching, how to perform when the game, the moment is on the line. You can practice great, but in these big moments, you have a hard time executing. So working more reps physically won't get the job done. We have to work on our reps mentally. Again, don't just go to the gym. We got to go to the mind gym. So this session is what that's all about. I'm a mindset coach. So my background is former college 2-sport athlete, played football and baseball in the Pac-12 conference, and I struggle with anxiety. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I used to chase my worth tied to performance. If I had success, I felt worthy. If I failed, I felt worthless. And it was exhausting. I had what is called imposter syndrome. Even though I had the numbers, the stats, I didn't believe I belonged. I let the moment get too big. I would be stuck in this acronym coined by Dr. Michael Gervais, he calls FOPO, fear of other people's opinions. So ask yourself right now, is what stopping you, is it a physical challenge or is it a mental challenge? Doubt, worry, fear, holding on to past mistakes, worrying about what people think. Can practice, but can't perform when you want to. Well, that's what today is all about. I'm gonna give you skills how to master your mindset. But first, let's do a mental workout. Look at me as a strength coach, but not for the body, but for the mind. And I love, man, the logo, Warstick, man. How many lines do you see? Most people say 2. I see 3. Most people miss the one in the middle. Want to stay present. But I got the gear. We're going to battle today. We're going to compete to be our best. Not the best, compete to be your best. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to leave your chair, leave your seat. Again, so grateful to be here as your mindset coach. I want you to go get a cell phone charger, something that has weight at the bottom. Okay, give me something that has weight. Go get a cell phone charger. I'm using my earbuds. I need a string that has weight. So get a cell phone charger and come back in 30 seconds. I'm going to teach you and show you the power of the mind as a mental one before we get into the content today, how to master your mindset. Okay, so go get a cell phone charger. Be back in, now I'll give you about 20 seconds. Ready, set, go. You know what's really cool? Let me just give a shout out to Warstick University, that they're not just about outcomes and profit, they're about people, person over performer. So a lot of what we do, what they do at Warstick, why I'm a big advocate, a big fan of the brand, is because they work on these types of things, these types of skills, these types of relationships, building community. So that's what we're doing here today. So I'm so grateful to see an organization where our missions and values align. Okay, so you got your charger, your earbuds. Okay, what we need to do is hold the string about 10 inches from the bottom. And if you need to, put your elbow on your desk or on your knee. I'm going to show you how powerful your mind is. Oh, you want proof on how powerful your thoughts are, how powerful language is, which influences all aspects of your life? Well, watch this drill. Okay. So hold the cell phone charger or your earbuds, wherever you got, the same height as your nose. And we're going to hold it tight with our thumb and our finger. We're not going to use our hand. We're not going to use our wrist. We're not going to use our arm. We're going to use our brain and our thoughts to move this object, whether it's a cell phone charger or your earbuds. Okay. So look at the bottom of that device. Now, not moving your hand or your fingers. I want you to see and command with your words that charger or device to move front to back. So even say in your mind, front to back, front to back, front to back. Now in your mind, visualize and focus and command it to move left to right. Even say in your mind or out loud, left to right. But see it, command it, say left to right. That's right. Now say circle, see it in a circle, see it move in a circle. Visualize it, command it to move. Say circle, see it move in a circle. Now command it to be still. Say still. Now move it however you want in your mind, left to right, front to back, using your brain power. Let's go. If you're a coach, do that drill with your team. So do we have anybody in the chat today? Did you get that thing to move? Let's go. Well, that is an example of one of my favorite catchphrases. It's this. And if you're watching live right now, I want you to write down this truth or on the replay. TBT, not Throwback Thursday. Thoughts become things. I'll say it again. TBT, not Throwback Thursday. Thoughts become things. That's an example of the power of thought, the power of what you focus on. Why is this? Watch this truth. What you focus on, you will find. Like attracts like. Energy flows where focus goes. Oh, you want some science behind this? Research from the Cleveland Clinic was looking at weightlifting. And they had two groups. Group one would they would lift weights every day, for about 30 minutes every day for a month. Group two would just close their eyes and visualize and feel their body lifting the weights. After those 30 days or a month, the group that actually lifted weights increased their strength by 30%. Group two, that simply saw and visualized themselves and felt their body lift the weights, they increased their strength by almost half, 13.5%. How about in sports? Research from the University of Chicago looked at basketball and shooting free throws. Three groups. Group one would practice making free throws every day for about a half hour. Group two, no practice. Group three would visualize and see and experience themselves making free throws every day for a month. After that 30 days, group one that practiced shooting free throws, making them, increased their percentage by 24%. Group two, no mental training, no physical training, didn't improve at all. Group three, that used their mind gym, visualize, experience the ball going in, shooting free throws, they increased their percentage by 23%. Now imagine if we combine both, training our body and our mind, how far can you go? Well, today's mental workout is on this thoughts become things, how to master our mindset. I'm gonna give you a diagram and a tool. I'm gonna give you a mental model to help you be more aware of your thought life, be more aware of your thoughtmosphere, and master this phrase and this truth, like we just showed with that exercise we did with our brain. Thoughts become things. Now, you aren't defined by your thoughts. Sometimes we always can't control what your conscious thinks about right away. But I love riding the Peloton. I love Coach Ali Love. She says, your first thought probably will be negative, but your second, third, fourth thought doesn't have to be. You have the power to redirect. Who's in charge, the thinker or the thought? This is a question by Dr. Susan David out of Harvard. She says, who's in charge, the thinker or the thought? Well, if the mind is untrained, that thought will take over. That thought will win. We fall into these thought traps. We fall into our shameful past and our fearful future that sabotages us from being present and executing. But she says if the mind is trained, the thinker will win. It's kind of like, do you have a dog? Who's walking who? Is the dog walking the owner? Is the owner taking control and train that dog to be on command? You can train your brain to be on command. If you want poise, resilience, composure, confidence, authenticity, vulnerability, we can train those skills. So we're going to front load our thinking. We're going to pre-plan some of these championship thoughts and behaviors. So in the moment, we know where to go. We know what to do. We get to quiet the noise. Bad thoughts are bad. Good thoughts are good. No thought is best. We can't get to that no thought, quiet mind by being negative. So in this workout, we're going to learn how to not listen to ourselves, how to talk to ourselves, to access the state called flow, being in the zone. Starts with your thought life. Change your thoughts, change your life. Okay, I want us to draw a diagram, team. Again, we're going to the mind gym. Don't just think it, ink it. Don't just think it, ink it. Let's look at a different pen. I don't like that one. Don't just think it, ink it. Your boy came prepared. Let's go. Don't just think it, ink it. So this is going to be a metaphor, a diagram for our brain, for our thoughts. Are you aware? Now, I've read various research articles about the number of thoughts. I've read anywhere between 6,000 up to 70,000 thoughts per day. So your brain is always working. So in this diagram, we're going to simplify and create a mental model. This is what psychologists call metacognition. Meta meaning many and cognition meaning thoughts. Do you think about your thoughts? Do you ever practice mindfulness and observe without judgment and think 500 feet and just observe, sit, not judge, and then take some time to redirect, to organize, turning that mind, which is a junk drawer, into a toolkit? I'm going to give you an organizational system to organize your brain, to turn it from a junk drawer into a toolkit so you know where to go. A lack of confidence is a lack of clarity, period. Let's go. So I want you to draw a line down the middle and draw two lines. Let's go, war stick. I want two battle lines like this. It's time to battle down the middle, okay? So above the line, the war stick line, are productive thoughts. Below are negative thoughts. To the left is our past. Are y'all following me? To the right is your future. So before we can train your mind, we have to know this truth. Awareness precedes behavior change. I'll say it again. Write that down. Awareness precedes behavior change. If we're unaware of these limiting beliefs, of these ants, automatic negative thoughts, of these fearful future thinking, worst case scenarios, if we're not aware, this is a great quote by Dr. Carl Jung, who old time pioneer in the mental game. He says, what is not conscious becomes your fate. What is not conscious becomes your fate. Okay, so above the line, productive, below, negative, left, past, right, future, and in the middle is in the present moment, accessing what we call a flow state, not judging, not critiquing, not past, not future, not good, not bad, just fully locked in flow, where the activity is the reward, not the outcome. Let's first break down all these quadrants. Where do you spend most of your time? So if you're in the bottom left, past, negative, you obsess and are reliving your past failures. You're reliving your negative past. That's what I call the shame corner. You're living in this shame. So guilt says what I did was bad. Shame says I am bad. Where you let a performance, a mistake, a mishap define how you see yourself and define your belief in yourself. Or you've had some haters or someone who's been negative or given you some critiques and are just gotten at you. You let someone's opinion of you shape your confidence and your belief in yourself. Here's an example. We're looking at the Warriors just won the title in the NBA. So I'm going to tell a story about basketball. This was the 1995 NBA Finals. And Nick Anderson was their best shooter on the team for the Magic versus the Houston Rockets. So Magic Rockets, Nick Anderson, the Magic are ahead by 3 points, 10 seconds left. He gets fouled. All he has to do is make one free throw. He'll ice the game, and they'll win game one. They had Penny Hardaway. They had Shaq. They were loaded. They were the top seed that year. Well, he gets to the line, and he misses 2 free throws. But he got his rebound. He got fouled again, so he has 2 more free throws. So all he has to do really is just make 1 out of 4 free throws, and they're going to ice the game. He misses 2 more, 4 in a row. Houston gets the rebound. What's up, Texas? I see you down there. Passes the ball to Kenny the Jet Smith. Kenny makes a 3-pointer, ties the game. The Rockets beat the Magic in game 1 and swept them in 4 games. But here's the moral of this story. Before that game, before that fateful time at the free throw line, Nick Anderson was an 85% foul shooter. After those misses, he let that event shape his mindset. He was living in that shame corner. And on that point forward, his free throw percentage was 40%. He let what he did define how he saw himself. We need to train our mind. It's not the do, it's the who that counts. So my question to you is, what is a mistake that you need to let go and forgive. And actually just recognize and say, not today. I'm not defined by this. I want you to master these 5 words, team. If you master these 5 words in your life will change. I'm not defined by this. Who says a sport defines your worth? Who says an outcome defines your worth? People aren't mistakes. An event is a mistake. But if you can learn to master this skill, learn to park it, that's a car. Learn to park it. It's kind of the question is when you go to the mall or go to a restaurant, you park your car, go inside to that building. Do you check where your car is parked every 2 minutes? Probably not. So why would you go replay that mistake? Don't let that mistake define you. Let that mistake refine you. Is failure a devastation or an education? Failure is great feedback. Learn from it. Park it and go back to that lesson when you need it. The next time you compete. Master 5 words. I'm not defined by this. How can I use this adversity as an invitation to greatness and use it as not a roadblock, but a building block towards the best version of me? We can't grow unless we fail. We can't grow unless we fail, but we're not defined by those mistakes. Professionals, top performers are professional failures. They learn how to fail and grow from that. I'm not defined by this. Now, team, do you have any questions so far? Looking for some Q&A. I'm here if you need anything. Now we're moving to the upper left quadrant. That's the shame corner. Shame lives in the past. Shame lives in this past negative state where you think you're letting an outcome, a result, a feedback loop define you and shape your confidence. Now, if we're upper left, this is what I call the confidence corner. Now, let me ask a question. Let me ask a question, team. If I'm doing a live event or I'm coaching you one-on-one, I coach professional athletes, executives, college performers, even some elite youth athletes. And I ask the question, where does confidence come from? If you want to be more confident, let me know. Let's go. Where most people say, when I've past experiences, or when I did this, that, the other, how I trained. And I ask the question, well, have you trained physically over and over again, but you get to a moment and it's too big for you and you sabotage yourself because you focus on what you don't want, not what you want. You focus on who you aren't, not who you are. Well, research from the BBC lab in the UK, 44,000 patients led by Dr. Andrew Lang, found that self-talk was the #1 influencer of confident action. How is your inner voice? Well, then ask yourself this question, backed by research from the National Science Foundation. What percent of human thoughts are negative? The answer is 80%. About 4 out of 5 human thoughts are negative. So we need to have some systems to redirect, notice redirect, and use a language, our inner voice, to drive the right behaviors. Watch this. I learned this from Dr. Ken Ravizza, rest in peace, a pioneer in the mental game. He says, it begins before it begins. You're at bat, your pitch, your play on defense, whatever sport you play, taking that test, giving a speech, it begins before it begins. Most performers focus on what they don't want, all the bad things that can happen. They play that game, what if, and they go that negative spiral. What if I make a mistake? Catastrophize. Well, part of training your mind is going to truth and using language and your voice to shape confident action. You're not going to always feel confident, you're not going to always feel motivated, but we're going to use language to influence confident action. So the story I tell is of Russell Wilson. 2014, his second Super Bowl. This is versus Tom Brady. They're on the 1-yard line. And he throws a very famous interception on the 1-yard line that cost them the game. What's interesting is Malcolm Butler, the defensive player who made that mistake, got beat 3 times in that same formation, that same route combination in practice. He took that mistake and used it to learn and make a big play, the play of his life. Well, here's Russell, made the biggest mistake of his life, cost him the game. But the reason why Russell, up to this point, has the most wins of any quarterback in the first 10 years, even though he's 5'10", is Russell invests in a mental conditioning coach. My mentor, his name is Trevor Moat. He passed away last year. It was Trev's birthday last week. Trevor, rest in peace. So what Trevor and Russell did that offseason is they built a game plan to recondition his mind. Russ says, I'm built for this. Just like I'm built for success, I'm built for adversity. So they hired a team around him to strengthen his body, get more fit, get more explosive, get faster. But his mindset coach, Trevor, made a highlight video of all of Russell's fourth quarter comebacks of his entire life, high school, college, NFL. Because up to that point, No one had more fourth quarter comebacks than Russell. So he was telling myself, hey, when I finish, that's like me. That play against the Patriots, that's not like me. I'm actually a finisher. I'm clutch. I'm going to remind myself and see images of peak performance. That's who I am. Now, what he did that next season, he had the best season of his life. He set Seahawk records for passing touchdowns and yards, went to the Pro Bowl, had the best passer rating and efficiency in the entire NFL after making that mistake. You see the difference? So, what we're going to do is we're going to go to this confidence corner where I want you to write down that toolkit that you can use when you need a boost of confidence. I want you to identify and write down times of past success. That's just as real as that mistake, but you spend all of your time dwelling, obsessing on your failures. Let's celebrate failures if we're going hard, attacking. Let's also reaffirm ourselves. You've had success before because the brain keeps a scoreboard of all your mistakes. Negativity is like Velcro. Your brain holds on to it. Positivity is like Teflon. It bounces off. So we have to remind ourselves. So give me 3 examples, 3 times when you've overcame difficult things and you've had success. Now, I also want you to write down, how have you earned the right to be confident with your preparation? This is what's called internal credibility. We can't just talk our way into greatness. We have to earn our way with our actions and behaviors, your process, your routines, taking extra hacks in the weight room. As much as we need to think productively and thoughts become things, we need to anchor that by putting in the work in as well. So you can go to truth. I've had success before. I've put in the work. Now I'm going to let myself be free and let go. Your body knows what to do. Just let it go. Let it be free. But remind yourself, I've earned the right to be here. Now, research from Dr. Valerie Young, a psychologist, her research shows that 70% of people suffer from what is called imposter syndrome, as in, I don't belong here, I'm not worthy of this. You have to remind yourself, override your brain's natural wiring for negativity and go to truth. I've had success before. I've put in the work. Trust my preparation, trust my training, have fun, set myself free. Let's go. Now, other thing is, I want you to write down who is someone who believes in you. Man, if you want to get a college scholarship, you want to get drafted, it just takes one coach, one team. Why give all your power to the haters? Let's go. Focus on who you are, not who you aren't. Okay? This is what David Goggins, former Navy SEAL, used to have the pull-up record, runs 100 miles in a day. He calls this his mental cookie jar. He goes to these things when he's overcame difficult things, when he's had things he's achieved, the work he's put in, his team who believes in him. He goes to that fuel, not negativity. Don't listen to yourself. Talk to yourself. Let's go. Now, bottom right is what I call the pessimistic corner. If we're bottom right, we're thinking future negative. We are obsessing over outcomes that are not good for us. We played not to fail. I see, Jesse. That's right, Goggins, man. Got callous your mind, he says. So if your mental makeup is bottom right, you're thinking worst case scenarios, as in you're expecting and focusing on the things that you don't want. Don't strike out, don't make an error, don't miss a shot, don't drop the ball, don't throw an interception, don't miss that penalty kick, don't miss that goal, don't get scored on. So your brain is seeing and experiencing these things in real time. Watch this truth though. The brain and body cannot tell the difference between a real and imagined event. So when you focus on things that you don't want, you're giving your body a rep of failing. When you obsess over what if I make a mistake, what if they don't like me, you're getting a rep because everything happens twice, first in our mind, then in real life. And you're using language like don't and can't. You're letting fear override what your body is built and made to do, what you've trained. Okay. So the way we can look at this is if you draw a box like this and draw a stick figure of yourself and then write the words don't, this is like your brain. Your brain thinks in pictures. Your brain thinks in pictures. But the words that we say influence the pictures that we see. So if you're saying don't mess up, don't strike out, don't say the wrong thing, don't lose, you're creating a subconscious conscious image That's creating a neural pathway that your subconscious holds on to. And sometimes miraculously, you manifest the things that you don't want. Because remember, I said earlier, energy flows where focus goes. Like attracts like. But what you resist persists. Here's a quick story. It's a story of Bill Buckner. Bill Buckner played baseball in the major leagues, was a gold glove winner like 5 times, won the batting title one year in the 80s. And in the 86 World Series versus the Mets, game 6, the Red Sox were about to lock up the World Series. They haven't won a World Series since 1917, since they traded Babe Ruth. They were 1 out away. Two runners on for the Mets. The ball gets hit down the first baseline. And the Red Sox are like, we're about to win a championship. They had like 2 seconds of glory. But the ball went right through Bill Buckner's legs. Cost him the game, cost him the World Series. It was interesting, though. Years ago on ESPN E60, they found a interview that Buckner did on a local Boston show on the news, on the sports channel. And he was asked, Bill, how do you feel about the World Series? And I kid you not, I'm going to verbatim recite what Bill told the reporter 12 days before that fateful error. He says, well, the dream is that you have success and win, but the nightmare is, I don't want to be the guy that lets the ball go between my legs that cost us the World Series. Sometimes these things happen. It's just fate. Say what? He verbalized that out loud. And subconsciously, TBT, thoughts become things. He somehow created that event that he verbalized and thought about in his mind. So we need to really compete and work to focus on what we want, not what we don't want. We need to stop saying don't and can't. Stop creating a mental image of what you don't want. And let's create a picture of what we do want. See it in your mind first. What is a do statement that you can think about, focus on, set your intention, shift your attention to your intention. It begins before it begins. And once you experience using mental imagery, best case scenarios, see the result, or see adversity and see how you're going to respond to it. Experience it first. Early in his career, I read this in the book Mind Gym by Gary Mack. And he was talking about Tom Glavine. And Tom Glavine, early in his career, I guess, wasn't having a good outing, wasn't having a good, whether it's spring training or early in the season. And one of his coaches says, well, Tom, what do you think about before you pitch? And Tom was like, don't mess up. Don't, leave the ball up. Don't give a home run. Don't lose a game. And his coach says, well, how's that working for you? What if you change one thing before you threw the pitch? Focus on what you do want. Do see the ball down. Do get a ground ball. Do win the game. Everything happens twice. First time in real life. Just by making that one mental shift, Tom Glavine is now in the Hall of Fame. So let's go. Let's go, squad. You got this. Now, if we can spend some time, this is the optimistic corner, optimism. And optimism is really rooted in gratitude. Is this a get to or a have to? Of course, it's a get to. Gratitude is a magnet for miracles. Your body produces over 300 billion cells per day. Your cells are eavesdropping on your thoughts. Your cells are listening. Your cells have memory. So if we can focus on, man, I love to compete. I'm built for this. Why not me? I got this. Let's go. Now I want us to memorize anchor statements. Think of an anchor. Think of an anchor on a ship. It's going to hold that anchor of that ship at bay. And if there's no anchor, there's going to be wind and waves. I call this the drift. Your focus is going to drift away. But memorize 3 anchor statements that you're going to focus on in that moment. I tell myself, I am authentic, I am present, I am courageous. This is called thought substitution. The mind can only focus on one thought at a time. So if you fill your mind with productive to neutral language, negative stuff can't come in. Okay. Now, if we spend enough time up here, productive thinking, we can slip our way into flow. Negativity, there's no way you get to flow. Watch this. Bad thoughts are bad. Good thoughts are good. No thought is best. We can't get to this flow, quiet mind by being negative. Productive thinking, go into our training, process over outcome. Coach Madden, who coached with the Rays, the Cubs, The angels used to say, be present, not perfect. And flow, watch this. Here's some traits of flow. There's no sense of time. There's no judgments. You have a clear goal. You're getting feedback on what's happening. But watch this. The activity is the reward, not the outcome. Process over outcome. Connection, not perfection. Compete to be your best, not the best. And have some fun. I'm not defined by this. You're a human being choosing to play a sport. This sport does not define you. Okay? And if you find yourself down in this lower two, I want you to have a reset word, a reset phrase to set yourself on a more productive thought cascade, more productive thought pattern. My reset phrase, I already told you, is I'm not defined by this. I go to my anchor statements. I am authentic, I am present, I am courageous. And then what's the next right step? What's one thing I'm going to focus on doing? Not what I don't want, what I want to do. Maybe have a swing thought, hands back as a pitcher, stay tall. Use language to get out of stinking thinking and use shrinking thinking. The best focus on less, not more. Team, how we do today? We do good? So it starts with awareness. When you catch yourself below the line, use some tools for confidence. I've had success before. I've put in the work. I have a team that loves me. I'm going to see what I want, not what I don't want. I'm going to use language to quiet the noise. I'm going to focus on what's a behavior in my control I'm going to do. What's a swing thought, a pitch thought, a thought on defense to quiet the noise. That can help access flow. Don't listen to yourself, talk to yourself. How about a few minutes of Q&A, team? What do you think? Great job today in the mind gym.
I'll go ahead and get the Q&A started. And if you're watching, listening, make sure to drop those in the chat. But thinking about our viewers, a lot of parents, coaches, and youth athletes, what is a mental skill that you wish you had in your pocket as you were growing up becoming a two-sport D1 athlete? What do you think would really kind of make the difference?
I would say you're not defined by this sport. You aren't defined by it. I think I got so hung up on obsessing over what people think and letting a sport define my worth. That's not true. Then part two of that is I had no awareness on the power of language. My self-talk was horrible. If there's one thing you took from this mental workout is to start being very aware and being intentional about the words that you say and what you focus on. So just like you would pre-plan your outfit, pre-plan some meals, pre-plan some thoughts you're going to focus on and you're going to visualize.
That leads me to my next question that I was thinking about, that targeted for our youth athletes, but youth mind's probably a little more malleable, a little more adept to learning these new concepts, learning how to frame their mind this way. But parents and coaches might not be quite, this is going to be teaching an old dog new tricks. So What would you say is a start, maybe like the anchor words, really like the reset phrase thing there? How would you approach helping parents and coaches to get their mind right to help direct their athlete's mind?
Well, there's some research out there. Let me just quote some research. I wrote a book called Positive Parenting, okay? The research shows that 70% of youth athletes quit sports by the age of 13. That's a horrible number. And why is that? A lot of times I think it is because kids are over-focusing on one sport. Parents overemphasize. They treat these kids as if they're pros, which is not fair. Allow the kid to be a kid. Allow them to take the ownership of that sport. And this is from Bruce Brown. His research shows that the best thing we can tell our kids after game is, I love to watch you play, and zip it. Don't analyze, don't critique. Allow them to own that sport. But I think if I can just summarize, I think maybe two things you can do is teach your kids having a reset strategy, a reset phrase, a reset routine. Just like you would practice winning, practice how you're going to respond to adversity, challenge, change. Have a place to go. Just like that toolkit we talked about, have a reset phrase. So my reset routine is I say, I'm not defined by this. I have a tattoo that says 2437. 24 is to remind me of Kobe Bryant, who passed away, father of 5. I'm a father of 5. And I ask myself, do things happen to me or for me? They happen for me. 37 is for my college teammate, Steve Gleason, played in the NFL for 8 years. He has ALS. So that's a perspective shift. And then you have a physical routine, Like Kobe would untie shoe and tie shoe to lock back in. A soccer player, her name was Chastain. Her first name was Brandy Chastain. Yeah, she would adjust her ponytail, lock it back in. Maybe baseball players undo the straps, take your hat off, put it back on. Grab some dirt. Aaron Judge grabs dirt and rubs it in his hands to reset. So have some strategies to reset, but have some strategies to use self-talk. I use these 3 things too. I call it I have, I am, I will. I have is gratitude. I am are affirmations, and I will is I'm going to visualize the things that I want. If we can reset and do this drill, I call it the HA method. I have, I am, I will. These are daily drills you can do to practice and have a place to go.
Awesome. Well, I think we've got some good things here. Where can everyone go, of course, if they want to check out your books? What would be a great book of yours for them to start with, especially for youth athletes?
I have 2 books called Quiet Mind on Amazon. So Quiet Mind for kids, for the younger kids, and then Quiet Mind is probably ages 13 and up. So they're both books as well as a workbook, so you can have some of these drills and skills you can start training. So really, it's called mindset, to set and program your mind to focus on the things that are going to serve you.
Awesome. Well, where can everyone, the socials, of course, if they're watching this after this live and have some questions, where can they hit you up?
Yeah, so hit me up. Follow me on Instagram at Collin Henderson 2 L's. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Collin Henderson 2 L's. I have a podcast called Master Your Mindset, Tools to Win the Inner Game. I have a lot of episodes, podcast episodes, free content. I have an online course you can find on my website. My website is thecollinhenderson.com. You can find me there, and any way I can serve, I would love to help.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for taking the time to do this live session for us, our very first virtual session of Warstick University. Coach Collin Henderson, everybody. If you liked what you heard, definitely let us know in the Facebook, YouTube comments. Follow Collin. And, of course, if you want to learn more, check out his books. Thank you again, Collin.
So fun. Let's go. Awesome. Let's battle. Let's do it. See you guys. Peace.